Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffrey Combs.
Good afternoon, Jeffrey Combs, 2 for Tuesday. This is the next to last Facebook Live of 2024. I'll do one more tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, or 9 p.m. Pacific. That would be actually 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That will be in the new year for anyone on the East Coast. So Jeffrey Combs, President and Founder of Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated, on Facebook Live here, the next to last Facebook Live of the calendar year 2024. Yuritsa, good to see you this afternoon. And I presume that you will be bringing some of your teammates here. And if that is the case, I will be honored to present to them. And a topic that I actually invented this term, producing in a relaxed body. I coach a multimillionaire from Los Angeles, a young man in his late 30s. He started following me in 2013, and he told me today that he goes, Jeff, it took me 4 years to really get what you cover. He goes, and I'm a good student. He goes, what you cover is so complex, but yet it's so easy. And what he's talking about is the payoff. And what he's talking about is what it means to really break through and what it means to do this right here. Scale the map of consciousness. And so it is a very complex neuroscience, but once grasped, it's life-changing. And when you grasp what it means to scale the map of consciousness and what it means to let go, separate your feelings from the events that shape them, then all the technical know-how that you've learned will be applicable. But if you live in your left brain, your processing, analytical, thinking brain, if you continue to process, rationalize, hold on to a set of feelings, if you continue to process, get ready, procrastinate, hesitate, levitate, pontificate, and live in that analytical egoic mind that doesn't make sense. I mean, this is how many people live in this overwhelmed state of unconscious consciousness, and that is what creates fight or flight. Now, my topic today is producing in a relaxed body. If you're a sales professional or if you own a business, you're an entrepreneur in free enterprise, you're an influencer, affluencer, you own a direct sales business, you're a 1099 sales professional, you're an investor, you're an inventor, you're a writer, any multitude of situations. Thank you, Alexis. Good to see you this afternoon. Jared, thank you. Yuritsa, thank you for bringing your team. Ryan, thank you for being here today. Tomas, thank you. So I will be doing one more call this evening. That'll be the last Facebook Live of the year. But I'm going to cover this so that those of you who are loyal followers, I'm in this space. My desire is to assist you to understand this term, a relaxed body. For those of you who are athletes, if you had performance anxiety, Alexis, you'll remember this. You were a Division I softball player. If you had performance anxiety in sports, you choked and you gagged and you dropped the pass, or you made an error in the field, or you got struck out on a curveball, or any multitude of situations. As an athlete, in performance anxiety, you go completely into your head in fight or flight, and so you flex and flinch, and that's why a curveball drops into the strike zone. And that's why if you don't have soft hands as a shortstop, second baseman, or third baseman, or a first baseman, then you're going to have errors. It's like E5, E6, E4, E3. That means in scoring, that means you made an error. Error means you booted the ball. A ground ball, you booted the ball. It's an error. And so that means the runner advanced to first base at least. So that is performance anxiety, and that's where most of the world lives. In a performance anxiety, they choke. And you've seen people in sports, they do this to the other players to mock them. It means you're a choker. And unfortunately, that's how a lot of the world lives, because what it means in the real world, it means that you're procrastinating. And I wrote a best-selling book. It didn't start out as a best-selling book, but I wrote the book. Thank you. Alexis understands it. Give me a high five there, Alexis, because I know you know exactly what I meant. Dale, good to see you. Cheryl, always good to see you. So it means in quantum physics and in the quantum field, what happens is Trauma that the body holds on to manifests itself in what are called repressed feelings and suppressed feelings. So you can be a skilled athlete or you can be a skilled employee, but you take these people that are employees and athletes and you put them in free enterprise in their own business. Oftentimes it's foreign to them. Even someone who has sales skills oftentimes will find themselves overwhelmed and challenged in owning their own business because their muscle memory is specifically designed and through repetition and experience to be an employee. It's reiterated over and over to be an athlete. But when you own a business, being an athlete can be an asset for you, but you're not playing on someone else's team. You're in your business. And in your business, you are solely responsible for your outcome and results. Now, in team businesses, in network marketing, direct sales, insurance, certain situations, you can have an upline, a mentor, a broker who can assist you to close sales, cross the bridge, who can onboard clients for you. Those of you in Josh and Yuritz's team, it's an absolute asset for you. David Hammer is another client of mine who had a game-changing month. And I mean, David's a veteran, so he understands this. He's someone else who can be a mentor to you. And there are people, Jack Mittler, my brother Jack. Jack is a top-tier sportscaster on the East Coast. Jack, good to see you. So Jack understands. Jack, I'm covering producing a relaxed body and what it means to have performance anxiety. It means you shoot a brick. Now, Jack announces for East Coast colleges, so he understands this. I was an 88% free throw shooter because I started shooting free throws on a 6-foot basket when I was 6 years old. I'm also very skilled with a handgun, all forms of weapons, hand-eye coordination, bows and arrows, tomahawks, throwing axes, all of these situations because I have natural, innate athletic skills, and some of that translates into free enterprise business. But once again, if you're in fight or flight and you have performance anxiety from critical parents, from being an adult child of narcissists, adult child of alcoholics, you had a brother or sister who traumatized you, any multitude of situations that comprise the neurological network of neurons that wire and fire that forms your feelings, a large percent of the world lives in performance anxiety, which then creates procrastination avoidance, and it creates many people will go through the preparation, but they don't execute. There's 4 words that are very important that you master as a business owner. First 2 are focus and discipline. It's important that you are focused and you are a disciple. You are disciplined enough to devote the time and the energy to the craft through the repetition and experiencing while mastering the emotions in a relaxed body in a non-attached state so that you can hear the prospect lie to you. So you can hear them tell you that they're going to get back to you. So you can hear them say, well, yeah, no, no, yeah, no. I guess this sounds good. I'm kind of interested. So you have to be able to hear what's meant along with what's said as a skilled professional. And as you become skilled at the profession, then you truly become a professional. But if you're a rank amateur and you're just going through the motions and then you're disappointed easily and you don't practice the simple discipline focused on the results, then you don't go to the next step, which is preparation, execution. Execution is the result. Execution is the closed sales. Execution is you've walked the prospect through the entire process, and then whatever they purchased funds. That's the execution of the situation. And that requires patience, that requires discipline, that requires focus, that requires preparation, execution. Those 4 words are extremely applicable while you're teaching yourself to let go of performance anxiety. Performance anxiety translates into fight or flight. Fight or flight is the neurochemical reaction. It's a reaction to stimulus where the body reacts before the brain understands what's happening. So in brain fog, the hippocampus, which is short-term, long-term memory, that component of the brain enlarges. The prefrontal cortex also enlarges. The amygdala, which is the pea-sized gland behind your ear, which is the reticular activating system, shrinks, and that's the byproduct of brain fog. You are not crazy. You have brain fog. So does the rest of the planet, due to the trauma that we hold on to. The degree and the severity of the brain fog's concussions from football injuries, being thrown off a horse, being hit in the head with a baseball, any multitude of situations can be called concussions, but most of your brain fog is a byproduct of trauma that is unresolved. And when you continue to hold on to the trauma and you continue to hold on to the feelings, now the shelf life of the feelings begins to compound, and that means that emotions have a corresponding future. So in your attractor factor, when you're holding on to these unconscious trauma and these feelings of not being good enough, these are vibrating from you out into the universe. You're transmuting them telepathically, and you are sending a mixed message that says, please join me, but don't, because I'm not good enough. And then people ask me, how do I improve my attractor factor? Well, you have to be honest with your circumstances, the household, the parents, the events that shaped the feelings, the coaches you had, the trauma you experienced, the men, women you mated, dated, and married. If you've married narcissists over and over, or if you've dated narcissists, or whatever the situation, if your boss is a narcissist, your parents. I mean, this is acute trauma because it's chronic criticism. The term gaslighting is a narcissistic term that a narcissist will use on you to try and persuade you or convince you into feeling you are the issue. You are crazy. It's your fault they had an affair on you. You made them do it. This is how they operate. And you owe them your existence because they try to control the outcome and you. A narcissist hates themselves in denial. They're in denial of their own hate. And then they take that hate and they cast it on you or others in their circle of influence. And if you're a byproduct of this, growing up in this, you're going to be in a lot of fight or flight. Fight or flight is the automatic reaction to stimulus. The body goes into fight or flight. Performance, anxiety. In sports, it's called choking. And it happens so frequently in business. This is why many people, this term, get on the phone. Well, you don't put the phone on the ground and sit on it. That's not what you're doing. You're not getting on the phone. You're using a cell phone, email, Facebook, messaging services, whatever the means of communication is to qualify a buyer, qualify a prospect, or it can be used in the dating, mating world, any multitude of situations. You're looking to see if the person that you're communicating with qualifies for, and then you fill in the blank for your time, your product, your service, your benefit, your feature. If there's a match, mismatch, if it's a possible employee, someone you can date, mate, marry, any multitude of situations. But if your communication style is shut down because of the trauma you hold on to, and you have a little voice like this, a little voice, that's your tone. Tone is 37% of how we connect with people. It's not that you don't have a voice, but your voice is repressed due to the feelings you hold on to. Sit right down and don't say one single word. Children to be seen, not heard. Sit in the back seat and SFTU. I mean, and if you had someone who was angry, that like I did, someone was angry and was in your face, that you're like this. If you had one of these people that was in your face frequently, your body goes into acute fight or flight. Also in this situation, the body also manufactures mind-body connections. Asthma, eczema, multitude of other situations that become childhood diseases. And then there's all the other situations that have happened over the last 40 years. I won't use the words, but it's big P and big M create this through trauma-based mind control, shaming techniques, guilting techniques, and then the stand in line at the D stores of the world. Stand in line and take the red pill, blue pill. So understanding all of that coupled with the fight or flight you're in, and then you're told you have ADD, ADHD, PTSD, you have all these acronyms that become overwhelming, and then you're medicated on the overwhelmed situation. Now what you have is you have a tolerance. So if you held on to these feelings and you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, you have an emotional tolerance to what you're holding on to. And so this doesn't allow you to produce in a relaxed body. It is your responsibility. I teach it. I cover it daily. I coach it. I can show you how to let go in a relaxed body. So add that into your affirmation at the end of a sentence, in a relaxed body. eventually the mind-body connection will begin to grasp what it means, and the body will begin to release by saying the affirmations in a relaxed body. Saying it coupled with believing it. Now, if you say it without the belief, which is the certainty, the body will stay inflexible. When your body isn't inflexible, you will not be able to prospect. You have to be as smooth as the other side. You have to be as cool as the other side of the pillow. You have to be smooth as silk, and you have to have ice in your veins to be a skilled prospector. You don't require a PhD, a public high school diploma. You require the skill set to master sales, the highest paid profession in the world. And if you have an aversion to selling, well, you're out before you're in. If you walk around the planet going, I don't want you to think I'm trying to sell you anything, don't worry, no one will buy from you because you just telegraphed your uncomfortability. You have to buy into it. You have to buy into being a sales professional. I am a skilled sales professional. I am very accomplished at selling. My track record shows it. My bank account shows it because sales is the highest paid profession in the world. It requires posture, charisma, attitude, belief, certainty. It requires persuasion skills, NLP skills, neuro-linguistic programming skills, which I started learning in the late 80s. I once had John Laval, who was the #1 practitioner of NLP in the world for many years. He was once on my team. He wrote a book with Richard Bandler called Persuasion Engineering. I highly recommend that book, Persuasion Engineering by John Laval. As a matter of fact, before I get off here today, I'll go right behind me. It's right in that bookcase, right back there. It's in one of those bookcases right back there, Persuasion Engineering, Neuro-Linguistic Programming. It is a skill of the art of persuasion. And we are duped daily through trauma-based mind control, through the commercial advertising, through signs and symbols that are used, all the signs and symbols on the back of dollar bills. Novus Ordo Seclarium. Does anyone know what that means? Norvis Ordo Seclarium. Madonna was wearing it on her coat in a movie called Desperately Seeking Susan. Norvis Ordo Seclarium. It means New World Order. And that's what's right in the back of the dollar bill. On a dollar bill, and up in the corner on a scroll, you have to really look for this one, with a magnifying glass, you can find a Bavarian owl in one of the little scrolls on a dollar bill. On the back of it, if you look close enough, you will find it, because there's a lot of signs and symbolism that the naked eye does not see, which serves to trauma-based mind control you into standing in line for the red pill, blue pill, buying in to just borrowing money on interest that doesn't exist, and then paying points on it. That's what most of society does. And if you own a home right now, you are watching your homeowner's policy go up. It doesn't matter what state you're in, but if you're in California or Florida where the insurance companies are pulling out, you're watching home mortgage or home insurance prices escalate. Mine just went up 30% in California. However, because I know how this game works, I raised my deductible and dropped the rate. I mean, that's one of the things you can do in that world if you understand it, and oftentimes your agent won't tell you that. So that's your responsibility to understand your dialogue with money. And your dialogue with money is either going to enhance your ability to create it, or the dialogue with money that you hold on it presently will keep you in liability debt, paying interest on money that doesn't exist. It just chews it up. If you have large student loan debt and you're just paying the interest, it's shocking. Shocking. Not really if you understand the game, the 9-to-1 fractional banking system that the Fed uses. And by the way, the Fed is printing money right now. So that means that 2025 is going to be a banner year for us entrepreneurs, for those of us who are in the business. Now, the people who are just procrastinating, all of 2024 was just another year to get ready. Well, you better pray to yourself that you can break this cycle, or hire me to be your coach, so that 2025 is a year of production. Because if it's not a year of production, it's another year of procrastination. I mean, you have about a 2-year window to next level your entrepreneurial career. It's going to be very important that you grasp where you are as this year ends and you step into your power in 2025. And for any of you on today's call, I have a unique marketing proposition. This is the last day of that offer. I offered it last week. If you want to hire me to be your coach, hire or rehire me to be your coach, today's the day to do it, because I have a unique marketing proposition, and I will only share that with you on a live phone call. So if you want to speak to me, reach out to me immediately after this Facebook Live, because it ends at midnight tonight. So breathe, release, and let go. Producing in a relaxed body means that you are learning to let go, the separation between the feelings and the events that shape them. Letting go is a specific skill. It means you're the observer. You feel the feeling that you are in. You feel performance anxiety. You feel fight or flight. You feel overwhelmed. You feel anger. You feel rejection. You feel abandonment. You feel resentful. You feel any of these emotions. You feel them, and because you're studying the content and you're in the process, or you're coaching with me, you realize in that moment that you are relapsing. And in that relapse moment, instead of participating, you're able to neutralize the fight or flight by taking a breath. You completely change your whole neurological chemistry through that breath. It gives you about 15 seconds in a brainwave called gamma. And in that 15 seconds, that's a chill factor. After that breath that you begin to realize, the body is in a relaxed body, and it's secreting a different neurochemical called DMT, dimethyltryptamine. It's the chill factor. When you learn to meditate on command, when you learn to let go, your body will be in this gamma brainwave state more frequently, and it completely changes who and what you attract. When you're in this relaxed state, they show up. But when you're in force, when you're in control, when you have to control your team, control the business, when you're in control of your control that keeps you out of control, controlling your control, you've lost control. There is no control. That's what letting go is. You're not in business to control the outcome. You're in business to create the outcome. But if you're trying to control the outcome, you are setting yourself up to be disappointed. This was great content. If you grasp this, I'll tell you this again. If you're in business and you're trying to control the outcome by forcing people to do what they don't want to do, or by persuading them to do what they're not good at, and you're setting yourself up to be disappointed. When you learn to let go of control, then what you're doing is producing the result. Your focus is to create the result, not to control the result. Many people try to control the result rather than creating it. And you can't create every result. That's what letting go is. That's what non-attachment is. But if you're trying to control the outcome, you're not practicing non-attachment. You're practicing control. And then what you keep attracting to your reality is the same situation, the same circumstance to fulfill the same feeling. You're trying to take the wash rag and get all the water out of it, rather than putting the wash rag down and attracting new people who can produce on command. The key to attracting people is let go of trying to control them. And when you're in a rigid body, that's not going to happen. So if you're selling a $10 million property and you're worried about, oh my God, no one's going to be able to finance this, the interest rate, well, you just lost before you started, because the type of client you're looking for is the kind of client that comes in on a $10 million property and writes the check. They don't require to go through all of the hoops. You're looking for the person who can walk on the property and say, I'll buy that. And that's the same situation in the relaxed body. You're looking for someone who's as relaxed as you are. But if you're uptight and you're tense and you're trying to control the outcome over and over, and your teeth are being gnawed down by how much control you're in, you can't sleep at night, you're in control, you're in your head, you're overwhelmed, then you're going to attract your reality, the same situation, to fulfill your feelings, because you're going to attract situations and people who believe what you believe. Do your best to learn to produce in a relaxed body. It means you're addressing the fight or flight. That when you feel the fight or flight, when you feel the worry about the outcome that hasn't happened, you recognize it. You feel you're going in to the childhood behaviors that manifest in your teenage years, in your 20s, and now you're beginning to recognize it as the observer. You're beginning to observe rather than participate. Now you're changing the entire chemistry between the brain and the gut. You're in a completely different signal. And now the brain waves are beginning to change. The brain fog begins to release. You're no longer the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings. It doesn't matter if you missed the one-on-one free throw in the last game of your high school career. It doesn't matter if you fouled out like I did. I fouled out in the last game of my high school career and got a technical foul for bumping the referee. I got kicked out of the auditorium. That doesn't matter anymore unless I give it significance, because the significance you give to events determines whether you're in fight or flight or whether you're at peace with them. If you continue, thank you, Josh, I appreciate that. I knew you would understand this. If you continue to hold on to your screw-ups and FUs from your past, then you will continue to recreate them to fulfill the same set of feelings. You go, see, I knew this would happen to me. This always happens to me. FTU this up. I mean, that's what happens when you hold on to the same set of feelings. See, this always happens to me. Only if you give it significance. When you give yourself power, there is no significance to the past, because when you're in your power, you're not in any level of force. You're not trying to control the outcome. You are the outcome. You create the outcome by letting go, by breathing, releasing, and letting go. One more time, if you're on today's call and you want to speak to me regarding my one-on-one coaching, it is the 31st. You can hire me 365 days a year. That's all cool. You can go to my website, 8 hours for $3,000. 20 hours for $5,000, or you can call me today. I have a unique marketing proposition for the last day of the calendar year of our Lord, 2024. Matt Smith, good to see you. Matt, Josh is on today's Facebook Live. I know you've been to many events. Andrea Claire, I'm not familiar with you. If you will hit the blue button, you'll be in my feed more often. Scott Fellini, longtime client and friend, good to see you this afternoon. Jack Mittler, coached with me years ago. Paige McAllister Evans, congratulations on your successes this year. Amanda, Seb, good to see you, my brother. Josiah, always good to see you. Scott Lucas, longtime client. Janet Lloyd, and I go way back, over 10 years ago. Micaiah, good to see you. Jeff Bullock, thank you. Jimmy Green, longtime follower. Bob Campbell, Bob Scully. Josh, thank you for bringing your exceptional team. Rosalinda, Amber James, Cheryl Cameron, David Hammer. David, I recognize you today, my brother, because you deserve it. What a month David Hammer have. Michael Gershon, long-term client, exceptional man. Tomas, thank you for buying my book. Alexis, I'm waiting on you, baby. I'm waiting on that phone call. I'm waiting on you. Jared, longtime client. Ryan, good to see you. If you're not familiar with my content, give me a Facebook message for a free 20-minute coaching call. Breathe, release, and let go. Look at that little sweat under the arm, so that bring in the heat, baby. Have a good afternoon. Breathe, release, and let go.